So I thought I'd just make a quick-ish update because I realised on my last video about my installations was like ages ago, and I tried to record this video, and I think that my phone just for some reason doesn't want me to be a wannabe YouTuber. Like, I literally made the video about 6 different times in a row and my phone kept turning off, and then YouTube wouldn't upload it if it had saved, and then the YouTube thing kept crashing, and the list goes on. It was just a nightmare, and I got so frustrated with it that I was like, I'm leaving this, I'll try again another day. So obviously last time I talked to you about Bladder installations. I'd had my first installation that day, and so I've had the 7-week treatment, and then I had a 4-week gap, which was a bit impromptu, not quite to plan, and then on Friday just gone I had my first fortnightly installation. So basically my experience with the 7 weekly ones was that it's like a patience game. That's not a real saying, but it's a patience game. You have to wait until the washes start to, I guess, build up the padding and the kind of comfort that they'll bring you. Like, you don't just go in one day, have a wash, come out and feel good as new. Like, it's not that kind of gig. Like, you have to be patient for the results to build up. And it was kind of subtle. Like, admittedly, I didn't wake up one day and think, oh, I'm better, but it did, you know, the frequency wasn't as frequent, the urgency wasn't as urgent, and I wasn't up in the night as much, which was, you know, a relief, since I haven't had like a full night's sleep in like over a year, which obviously does start to have an effect. What is this? Oh, never mind. So yeah, so I did see the benefits, and interestingly enough, so once I'd had my 7th weekly wash and I was moving on to the fortnightly ones, I had a 4-week gap, as I said. I think it was kind of like an NHS appointment fault, rather than that there was supposed to be a 4-week gap, which unfortunately sent me into about like a 2.5 week flare up, which is basically, for all you that aren't aware, it's basically like terrible cystitis that lasts for like 2 weeks, which just is not very pleasant. Like, it's painful to pass urine, it makes you feel quite sick, quite weak, it makes you sore. I get it, which is the worst bit. I kind of lose my marbles a bit. Like, I get a bit confused, I get a bit forgetful. Like, I had an argument with a cash point because it wouldn't give me my money even though I hadn't even put my card in. Like, just things like that. That's for me the worst bit. Like, I'll be walking somewhere and I'll forget where I've come from or where I'm going for like a few minutes, and I'll have to like really think to what I'm doing, where I'm going, which is a little bit scary. So that was unfortunate. Like, I felt like I'd made lots of progress and I was almost back to how I was before the treatment started to begin with, which was unfortunate. Like, and my nurses were really apologetic. It was just one of those things. But when you've got something like painful bladder, which is like the treatment will be helping to alleviate symptoms rather than get rid of them completely, because obviously it's a chronic condition that is kind of always there, even if it's dormant. So yeah, so unfortunately when I had that gap, the kind of all the progress I'd made kind of was taken back, which was unfortunate. So when I went on Friday, I went, and I think where I'd had that big gap, I kind of almost was in holiday mode. I was like, oh, I'm never gonna have one of those again, even though I was well aware that I was going to have one. So like, I was a bit more tense and it was a bit painful when I'd had that large flare up. I think, I mean, if something's a bit irritated and you stick a catheter in it, it's never going to be hugely pleasant. And there was a little bit of blood when I first had a wee after I'd held the solution in, which I'd never had before, but obviously it had been particularly irritated for that last couple of weeks. I hadn't had a catheter in for 4 weeks, maybe it had just kind of accustomed to not having one. It wasn't like wet blood, like it wasn't like blood, but it was just like a little bit on the tissue, I guess, where the catheter had been inserted. Obviously, because it's not like a quick fix, I haven't felt the effect yet. Like, I'm still at the end of a flare-up. And admittedly, I had some tiffin yesterday, because I feel like if I'm having a flare-up, I might as well eat all the things that I can't normally eat when I'm trying to be really careful, because obviously you have to not have alcohol, dairy is not always recommended, fizzy drinks, rah-rah, the list and list and list goes on of things I'm not supposed to have, because it irritates the bladder. But I was like, you know what, Yaz, if you're in a flare-up anyway, you might as well have the tiffin. It's not going to be the end of the world. You're not going to make it better by having the tiffin, and nothing's going to make it better until it settles down. So eat the tiffin. And I did, and it was really nice. Unfortunately, made my bladder really irritated. But such is life. I will also say, so they say on like the pamphlets that you get when you've had like a diagnosis sort of thing. So I was speaking to I'm having an appointment with my urologist this Thursday to like confirm that the diagnosis is painful bladder. But I imagine that what he'll say is, it looks like you've got painful bladder syndrome. Is that periods or your menstrual cycle, whatever you want to call it, makes your bladder worse. And your gal has not had a period in literally over a year. Long story, we'll go on to another different time. But yeah, I haven't had a period for ages and ages and ages. So I think I've been quite lucky in the sense that I hadn't had to experience a period and having painful bladder. Your girl is now fertile, can confirm, period and painful bladder, not the one. It just makes you feel like you're having a really, really bad flare-up. Well, from what I did anyway. And I was like, what is going on? Like, especially as I'm so careful with what I eat and drink, I was like, I don't understand. And then Bob's her uncle, period came, the kind of flare-up went down, but I was much more twitchy, obviously, because it's a similar area, isn't it? So obviously if your lady things, I think it's your uterus, should know that for sure, it's obviously inflamed when you have a period, and your bladder's inflamed. They're in close proximity, so it's obviously only natural that the two kind of go systematically together. Oh, do you want to quit pink? Pickle. All right, no, that's my dog. She's not interested in me. So yeah, if you have a regular flow, just be aware that during your upcoming to your period, you might just get a bit under the weather. Don't be alarmed. I was alarmed, so I obviously didn't expect it to come, because I haven't had one for ages, but can confirm not the one. So maybe just like a heads up, just be a bit careful when you're around that time of the month, especially if you can predict when it's coming, that you might just be taken a little bit by surprise by your sudden worsening, if that happens to you. If not, well done, smash that. If you do get unwell, I'm here for you, gal, I get it. So feel free to leave any comments or any questions below if you have any. I've had a couple of people say that the videos were really helpful, which really heartens me to know that I'm not just sat here on my sofa talking rubbish at my camera. So hopefully pray for me that this video works and that YouTube responds to me. And yeah, thank you very much for your time. See ya, have a good week. Have a good week. Bye.